Do you do an intro situation or what's the vibe?
I don't have much of an intro.
Okay.
We're kind of just in it.
Here we are.
We're kind of just in it. We have an illustrious guest with us today.
Thank you.
She's stuck by my side today. Just full disclosure to everybody who's listening today, I was late to my own podcast. I just came off a flight. I played Northwestern University yesterday, and the traffic was really, really bad coming from the airport.
All I can say is you've been different since SNL. That's all I can point to is like the old Devon, the Devon that I knew.
I would have been on
who
time.
was in the creator program at Comedy Central.
Shout out to Comedy Central.
Would never be late to his own podcast.
And yeah, I'm a diva now.
But like I understand it, and so of course I'm like I'm here to be complicit.
Well, and I appreciate you being here. Y'all, she has her own podcast called Ride. She's a comedian that I've known for almost
long.
Pretty much as long as I've lived in New York. I feel like I've known Mary Beth. She's also got a show that's coming out
on Amazon Prime Video.
When it's this weekend?
May 15th.
Okay, in a month.
Well, don't say that because then people will know when we recorded.
Oh, that's true.
So
hey, cut that. Strike that from the record.
There's this thing with podcasting. You don't want to date
tell
the pod.
me about what's the thing. What's the thing about podcasting?
When you bank episodes.
I shouldn't have said that I played Northwestern University because people can find that.
Well, if people care, which they maybe will,
the students at Northwestern
they love you.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to figure out when this was recorded. So it's like,
and what happens if they find that out?
Then that you can get arrested.
Yes, they can put you in jail.
They can put you under this administration. Anything's possible.
Actually, that's true.
So just you always want to keep it vague and just be like, okay, yeah, May 15th. Anything in the future is fine.
May 15th.
Prime Video.
On Prime, Amazon Prime Video.
It's
called Overcompensating. Mary Beth Barone, welcome to the show.
It's so good to be here. It really is. I'm sort of off the pod train right now. Like I've been saying no to a lot of podcasts because I feel like I've just done so many. And then of course I have my own, as you mentioned, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to have an on the record conversation with you.
That's true. We've never done that before.
Ever.
Nothing on the record.
Nothing. And congrats on having a podcast. I feel like it was only a matter of time.
You know, I've said it on this podcast a bunch of times that I thought that I'd beat it. You know, I thought that I wouldn't have to ever do it. I thought that I was past it.
It's like those people that didn't have COVID till like Delta variant.
Yes.
Like you thought you kind of escaped it. You're like, I think I have the blood that's actually resistant to it.
Yeah, I think there was an NFL player who they were like, are you worried about the coronavirus? And he goes, I just don't think it would enter my body. It's a mutual respect.
Right.
And I was like, that's why you're an NFL player. Because you believe in yourself on that level.
Exactly.
That you don't think you can get a literal virus. You think it won't come into your body just because of who you are.
Out of mutual respect.
That's beautiful. How long have you been doing your podcast?
We started the pod, I think, in the first podcast was 2021. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we famously got canceled. First podcast in history to ever get canceled. And then we started a new podcast called Ride. Yeah.
I thought you'd been doing the same podcast the entire time.
No, we had a podcast at Spotify that was canceled. So we never were told why. We were just told that it wasn't continuing.
Like, that's not.
They were like, we don't think gay guys and bi girls should have podcasts.
Okay,
that was the talking point that we got.
And they're onto something with that.
And I think
that's something that I've been saying.
Point.
I was just saying that off mic. So
I know.
Maybe I need to talk to somebody at Spotify. We clearly got some of the same views.
Maybe there's a job for you over there.
Yes.
Content moderator.
Spotify, if you're listening, we think about things the same way, and I'm ready to work with you. I'm ready to let's get to business.
How's SNL this season? It's SNL 50. I mean, my God, we're 4 minutes in and I haven't congratulated you on SNL 50. It's huge.
Hey, just happy to be there.
Yep.
SNL 50. No,
SNL 50.
The like actual 50th show really was sick. It was like one of the coolest things I've ever got to be a part of. Like, I got to do an impression of Eric Adams on the 50th anniversary show. And that's genuinely all. I just wanted my face to be in it doing something. Mm-hmm. I kind of, because like we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know what the sketches were until literally the week of. And so like, I probably knew that I was in it like 2 or 3 days before it actually happened. Like it was on Sunday. I think they called me on like Thursday.
Like my stomach hurts just hearing that. Yeah. I don't know how SNL performers, their digestive systems, like, are you guys okay?
No.
Okay. Because I wouldn't be.
I'm not well.
No.
But it's just, I don't know.
But you got to play Eric Adams.
I got to play Eric Adams, which was something I really wanted to do.
That's cool.
It was nice. Can I tell you something, Mary Beth?
Please.
You're our first ever white guest.
Really?
Round of applause. Round of applause. We have our first ever white guest. It's Mary Beth Barone.
It just means like a lot. Yeah, I guess I actually can't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, you can say something.
No, I can't. It's it's an honor, and a privilege. And as a privileged person, I know what privilege is. So I will say this definitely falls into it's a privilege category.
Yeah.
And just
go ahead.
To be trusted with that.
Yeah.
I just hope I could do right by my fellow white people.
I think you're going to do a great job. I believe in you. There's a reason why you're the first one. Do you have anything that you'd like to say into the camera to the other white people who you beat out for this opportunity?
Do better.
Yeah.
I guess you could be sitting where I am if you were just doing a bit better.
If you worked harder, more. If you grinded harder.
And if you
was a real one.
Read more books and sort of like, I don't know.
Probably.
Amplify more. All those sort of things.
Because you're amplifying.
Because I'm always trying to amplify. That's my new thing. I'm not adding to. I'm just amplifying these days. I feel like
you're trying to get the other voices out there.
It can be really powerful to just amplify and yeah. Some people just said it best. So why would I try to say more?
So true.
When I don't have to. But it is an honor to be here. And I like that you put a white people record in between us, The Doors. Never listened to a single The Doors song, but I felt like it maybe was because I'm white.
You know, I didn't pick this one. How did we end up with The Doors this week? I think it's fully coincidental. Would you like a black artist? There's a Kendrick album over here.
No, I'm agnostic. No, hold on. I'm agnostic.
Mary.
It's what you want. It's your podcast. So
here we go. Mary Beth says black artists only.
More comfortable now
on this podcast. And this looks like it was actually signed by him too.
Or just somebody wrote on it.
Or just somebody wrote a K. Can I tell you a Kendrick story?
Please.
My first episode of SNL, Kendrick was the musical guest. And I had just seen him like maybe a month before at Barclays Center. Mm-hmm. And it was a really cool show. It was when he was doing Mr. Morale, which was like his sort of like album where he was really like reflecting on like generational trauma and what it meant to break the curses of past generations. So it was heavy.
Did he think he was Jesus yet at that time?
Was he doing he was doing the Jesus
thing.
Yes.
Cool.
This is when he was doing
those are the eras for
like,
me.
The Tiffany like diamond crown.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Also, wait, can I just talk about this hat really quick? I know this is distracting from the story. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, it's just audio only. This won't make sense to you, but I'm wearing a hat that I bought at the airport today because I didn't really like what was happening with my hair and I didn't really have any time to do anything with it. So I did buy this hat on the spot. Hold on.
And it looks great.
Yeah, it's one of those generic hats that says New York on it. I also bought Mary Beth one.
Yeah, but I have the slick back bun, so I can't really partake, but I'm going to wear this in the future.
Yeah.
And isn't it cool that we live in a city where you could, like, this is like a product you can buy?
And there's a lot of stuff like this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like this that exist.
New York forever.
Anyway,
is what I say.
And how much do you think these hats cost, Mary Beth?
I already know because I saw.
Okay, you already saw.
And I like to think that you were late because you were buying the hat, which confirm or deny.
It didn't help.
$23.99.
It is a $23 hat.
For the airport, that seems pretty reasonable.
It's not that. And you know what I'll also say? The shop where they had these, great vibes. There was a lady who was playing like the Kid Cudi, you know that song? It's like, all the crazy shit I did tonight. Those will be the best memories for me.
He does, those will be the best memories. And then later he says, for me, I wasn't sure if you were going to do that one.
Yes.
I wasn't sure where you were at in the song.
I just want to let it go for the night.
That'll be the best therapy for me.
See, me and Mary Beth, and I'll go back to the Kendrick story eventually. Me and Mary Beth went to college at the exact same time. Yep. And so I do think we have a lot of very similar musical. We were around during the same time.
Similar sort of seminal sonic experiences.
Yes.
That I feel like if you hear a song like that, even at the airport,
it just sparks something.
I'm back in college at a pregame. And that's exactly where I want to be in that moment.
It was a dicey time when we were in college musically. I think about this all the time, that we were in college during peak dubstep. When dubstep was really, you couldn't escape it. And I was trying to. And
I can't say that I wasn't listening to it. But I was listening to a lot of other things too.
And I'm sure the way you were listening to dubstep was probably different than the way that everybody else was doing it.
When I hear an Ellie Goulding Jackwa remix, like that's just like, it's not quite the same as like what other people were doing with it.
I believe it.
But yeah, it was a difficult time for me and my music taste. One time I was hooking up with a guy, and I was really into this song from the movie Enchanted called "That's How You Know."
Okay.
And Amy Adams is so fabulous in that movie. It's a total instant classic. It's half animation, half live action.
James Marsden too, right?
James Marsden, Patrick Dempsey, of course.
Wow.
So that
Hot
song,
White Boys was on the game.
I heard the drum. Because she's like in Central Park and then a musical breaks out. I'm hooking up with a guy. I hear the drum of that song and I literally had to.
While you're watching that movie?
No, it was on a playlist. Worse. It was on a playlist.
A playlist that you had.
That I had put on that I forgot that song was on there. I had to levitate out of my lofted bed.
Yeah.
Nearly got a concussion.
Yeah.
In order to turn the song off quickly enough. But it's like I'm a complex person. I have layers. I wasn't ready to show that layer yet to that person.
You don't. That's like, let's say it's somebody that you would have known better. Do you think that you would have continued to have sex?
Well, I wasn't having sex. I was just hooking up. So there's a huge difference. There was at the time. There was at the time.
Okay, I see.
I never had sex in college. That was like I was a good girl.
What?
Yeah. I was Catholic, so I was like, I'm waiting till marriage.
You were Catholic like that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a weird time. I've gone through a lot of metamorphosis in my life.
That's true.
Which many people don't know. If I knew him better, maybe we could have laughed about it, but he was a year older than me, and I just felt like we weren't at that level, and we never got to that level.
Yeah, to
being able to laugh together.
You were at the enchanted level of, Yeah.
Yeah. So it was vulnerable, but I just wanted to share that.
No, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. That's something I'm going to hold with me for a long time.
And listen to the song. It's like totally fabulous.
What's the song called?
It's called That's How You Know. There's like a few songs from musicals, and I'm not a big musical person, but there's a few songs that I will just sort of pick out and listen in my day-to-day life. Imagine hooking up and like this song starts playing.
Oh, it's kind of rapping a little bit. Okay, it's got like a Lin-Manuel Miranda type of situation.
Really, truly love her. Yeah, in college, hooking up with a guy.
She's like doing it with like black people in the park. Oh, I see. She got some like niggas with drums. She got some niggas with drums in the park, and she started rapping with them. That's awesome.
But what's beautiful about New York?
You're right, because that really can happen in New York.
That can happen in New York. That's the thing.
Mary Beth's kissing with all her clothes on, and then listening to Amy Adams and a man with a dreadlock wig play the bongos. That's incredible, and that's
just one story.
There's so many more. I can imagine.
So many, but that one really stuck out to me.
As an adult in your present age, if you're gonna hook up, are you putting music on, hook up or have sex, whichever? Oh my God, really? That's crazy.
Whatever you want to call it, I guess in this day and age. I guess if it's like a new person and I was like you don't know what their like conversation style is in a hookup, maybe you'd put some like low hookup music on in the back, and hopefully you have a playlist for that sort of thing. But I would say when you get to like deep into a relationship, like you're not setting the vibes like that.
You don't need it. You
don't need it because what the auditory experience is.
You know
at
what's
that
going
point.
on. I know some people who kind of need music on every time, no matter what. I feel like there are some times when you're with someone for a while, I feel like there are like certain occasions in which it's like, okay, this is a music. We just had a really nice dinner.
Exactly.
We just had a really nice dinner. Maybe we just took a bath. We just hopped in the bath.
Baths
and
are huge.
Let's go ahead and put a little soundtrack to this.
Sexy music on.
Sometimes it's just the morning and you're like, we got to go to work.
Right. So it's like we're on a time constraint.
Yeah, we
don't have time to fuck around.
That's true.
Or set like the mood. But yeah, I've had a lot of like musically impacted hookup experiences, like some good, some bad, but mostly bad.
Yeah.
And they stick with you. Like you bring a guy home from Union Pool, he puts on Ty Dolla $ign. he smokes a joint in your bed, you fall asleep. I mean, that's not, like, that's in the memoir.
Ty Dolla $ign? What, do you remember what song by Ty Dolla $ign?
No, I just remember the Google Home speaker I had such a small room. So the Google Home speaker was like on my nightstand. So it was like right next to our ears.
So he connected to the Bluetooth at your house.
Yeah.
And then
this man was very out of pocket. He saw me months later, like in the city. We actually ran into each other a few times and never said hi, obviously.
Sure.
He just threw up the peace sign and pointed it at me and then just kept walking.
Like
Not
that?
like that.
What type of
He
peace
put
sign?
it to the side. He put it on an angle. He went like this and kept walking.
Can I ask you a question, Mary Beth? What ethnicity was this man?
He was white, but I don't think he wanted to be.
Sure. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm imagining him.
Yeah. So I think it's important to like reflect on the experiences that changed us and shaped us.
Of course.
And I learned a lot.
Am I off base for saying this? I do feel like I imagine there being a good amount of that type of guy in your romantic history. I imagine there being a good amount
not
of
that many
white guys who have low haircuts.
I'm gonna say there's 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna say there's 3, and 2 of them are comedians. So
yikes.
That's tough for you guys.
You guys
Comedians.
don't lump me.
Comedians. You are a comedian. You
I've
identify as a comedian.
And I've never been proud of that. It's a thing I do, but I know what we're bringing to the table. Just kind of all of it. Mm-hmm. Do you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm doing fine.
I think you are like one of the good ones.
I would say it could get worse.
You make a really good first impression.
Yeah.
I will say that. Everyone I've ever introduced you to is like, I love Devon. Oh, and
I
actually,
met your aunt.
And well, okay,
that's your godmother?
You met my godmother,
Your godmother.
And my godmother's secret sister, who she found out about through 23andMe. One of 10 siblings, they do 23andMe and find out that they have a secret sister as well. If you have 10 kids, you really have to go out, and I will knock the record over when I say this.
Okay. It's
you
funny,
have 10
just
kids and you're going to cheat on your wife and have a secret 11th child. Can you calm down?
It's like, when is it ever enough for you?
Yes, you met them in the green room in Austin.
I was literally just thinking about that lady. I'll think about her now every single time that I get onto a plane, because I was explaining to this woman. This woman, I like hopped in on Mary Beth's show. I was like, we happen to be in the same city. I like hopped on Mary Beth's show. She graciously had me. And afterwards, it was a fun show.
Really fun show.
Afterwards, I go into the green room, and this woman's just like, hey, so why'd you do that big pause? Why'd you like pause during that like one joke? Like, what was that about? And I wasn't even upset so much as I was just like, nobody had ever really asked me anything like that, like immediately after.
Because it's just not really something you do.
It's kind of crazy.
Also, I want to clarify, she's not my godmother. She's the woman I was named after. And the person that you talked to was her secret half-sister.
Yes.
So I had never met this person either
Tangled
before.
web here.
I know. And you want to hope that if someone's backstage, they're just going to know to not do that.
No, she dove right in 2 feet.
And it's funny because I actually have a joke about how people don't know how to interact with someone they've just seen do stand-up comedy, because they love to like say hurtful things or like ask you really probing questions. And so I'm just like, I would say just don't do that. Just default to like, if you have a question about the delivery, like unless you are a comedian, just don't. But I remember you brought up that you don't wear seatbelts on planes, and she was like, you will become paralyzed.
I have a thing at the airport where like when I'm on the plane where I don't like to buckle in my seatbelt because it's not comfortable and I don't like feeling restricted. I need my freedom of movement to be able to do whatever I want with my body. And I don't know how this came up, but I said that to this woman and she goes, oh, you have to wear your seatbelt. And I was like, why? I was like, if we crash, like I'm going to die. And she was like, that's not what the seatbelt's for. The seatbelt's for when there's a change in altitude and it happens really quickly. And I think she said she knew a lady who like hit her neck really crazy and then like couldn't walk anymore. And she was like, that'll happen to you if you don't put your seatbelt on. And you know what? Now I put my seatbelt on every single time I'm on the plane.
Okay, so
because I'm afraid of that.
Look, I think with these interactions, much like the guy I hooked up with when that song came on, you take a lesson from it.
Sure.
Sometimes there's negative aspects, but you take a lesson from it. And it's like, I don't know if when you do shows or even if you bring people to SNL, like, do you ever get worried that they're going to say something to a cast member? Or like, my thing that people say that I think is so hurtful and they don't realize it because they're trying to be nice is, and Jessica Kirsten has talked about this before too. It's like, I love that one joke, but no one laughed. That joke was so funny to me, but it was silent.
Yes.
And I'm like, that I know that, and you know that, but we don't need to.
We don't have to talk about it.
We don't need to put it in the room with us.
I thought that was good. I mean, nobody else was laughing during that at all. Like
complete silence.
You said that joke, and everybody was quiet. But I was back there like, that's good.
I was thinking it was funny.
That's good.
But I didn't laugh. Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've certainly. Or have you ever had this thing where somebody will start a fight, somebody that you know, like you post something on the internet, somebody that you know will start a fight in the comments with somebody who said something mean to you.
Yeah.
And you're like, or I'll have people sometimes take a screenshot of something mean that somebody said and be like, this guy's an asshole. And I'll be like, I wouldn't have known that he said that.
No, I told my family to stop doing that.
You're bringing me something that's making me feel much worse.
Yeah.
I felt good about it until you showed me that this guy said I suck.
Because I would have never seen it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had to have a conversation with my family, just like, if you think it's funny, like I maybe have seen it, but I maybe haven't, so like just don't send it. Yeah. But I like when people come to my defense in the comments, because then I don't have to do it.
Yes.
Like someone commented on my post yesterday and said, what's wrong with your nose? And then someone was like, what's wrong with you that you felt like you needed to post that? Mm-hmm. So that's cool. Yeah. It's like,
that's nice. It's kind of, it like polices itself. It's kind of like with a heckler. You know, sometimes when there's a heckler who heckles to the point that like the audience starts being like, fuck you. Yeah. Like that's really beautiful. And
that's community building.
That really is like one of my favorite things in the world. Because you can address it a few times, but I feel like when the room starts to, when that person starts to talk and you hear the audience be like, no, cut it out. Like that's one of my favorite things in the world.
I agree. And sometimes you need, like, I feel like venues aren't that quick to kick out hecklers.
It takes a while.
So it's good when like even the audience is sort of like, okay, we're kind of over this person. Mm-hmm. Although Gary Richardson handled a heckler the best I've ever seen anyone. I used to do the show at the Public Hotel called The Exhibition. Yeah. And Gary did it one time. And there was a guy in the balcony who kept talking throughout the whole show. And Gary looked up at him and he goes, I just can't believe how loud you're being, because I work at SNL and I'm quiet most places. And I was just like, if someone had said that to me, I think I would have shriveled up into like like if no one would ever have a reason to say that to me, but I was just like, it's so funny to say like, I'm quiet most places and you're here trying to be a part of the show. And the guy afterwards just clearly thought he was like so cool for like being part of it.
Oh, he like,
didn't even know that he was.
He took that as like, oh, it's awesome that I was like referenced. I got to be part of this thing.
Yeah.
If you ever go to a stand-up show, don't be that. We don't like you talking. You're not making it better.
No one does.
Yeah. Mary Beth, you came to us. We're on My Favorite Lyrics. You came to us with a song that I will say is near and dear to my heart. I will really say, with you being the first white guest, I really did think that I was excited for you to bring something that I didn't know anything about. I really thought it was going to be like, I thought we were getting like deep cut Britney Spears. I know you're a huge Katy Perry fan.
Yeah.
Noted astronaut, Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Who has an album coming out.
I think it came out.
Oh, it is out.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been sort of having to respond to this stuff about space because I was such a public Katy Perry fan for so long. But I think I know what Harry Potter fans feel like now with J.K. Rowling's Fall from Grace. Like, unfortunately, Katy, like, launching a shoe brand, fine, I can deal with that. Endorsing Rick Caruso, okay, fine. You're asking a lot, but I'll continue to sort of support the music. And then with the space thing, I'm just like, unfortunately, this has gone a step too far for me. And I need to just like, it's hard. It's hard to like let go of your heroes. But I think for me, it's just...
You're washing your hands.
I have to. It's like, I can't. I actually had a bunch of magazines with her on the cover that I've collected over the years, and I brought them to the trash room yesterday.
No! Just because of this space journey?
Well, it's just been so many things. It's so many things, and I just think, like, I will always, like, the Teenage Dream album will always be, like, a part of my, like growing up, and it's so important to me.
It's my favorite Katy Perry song.
It's just such a good, and it's just like hits after hits after hits. Yeah. But sometimes like you grow up and the artist you love grows up in a different direction. As a, and I shouldn't probably say this out loud, but as someone who is really shaped by Kanye West.
trust me when I tell you I understand where you're coming from.
It's been really hard. I really wanted to listen to Graduation the other day. Albums that really resonate with me are ones that came out when I got my driver's license.
Of course.
Because for the first time, I was able to have like 6 CDs and I could put on whatever music I wanted. Mm-hmm. So Graduation was like a huge album for me. And I'm just like, I just can't listen to it. Like if it comes on in a public space, I'm like, wait, the music is so good. But unfortunately, I just can't.
You gotta be done with KP. Well, like I said, I really thought you were gonna hit me with some
Taylor Swift or something.
I don't take you as a Taylor Swift girl.
I love the music, but I am not in the lore of it all.
Oh, I see. You are okay. So you're a fan. Did you go to the tour? Okay.
I did not.
Okay.
I actually, a little secret about me is I don't like live music that much.
You never hear anybody say that.
I'm just being honest. It's really loud.
That's true.
It's loud.
They got all those big ass speakers.
Big speakers. It's crowded. I just feel like there are certain artists I will go see live, but I think generally, unless I have great seats or something, it just feels like I could just listen to the album because the album's the best version.
That's true, and you can listen to it in your car by yourself.
Exactly.
You came to us, Mary Beth, with a track from 2008. By my personal favorite rapper of all time, Lil Wayne, and is off his Carter 3 album. It's called Dr. Carter.
Yes.
How did you land on this as a song? Were you like, Devon, I'm gonna meet you where you are?
So no.
You're like, I know what Devon likes to listen to. And you know what? You're right. You're correct. This is something that I like to listen to.
Can I say why I brought it?
Go ahead.
So I talked about Bedrock on my podcast last season. And
there's a lot in there. That's a song
we should. There's a lot of lyrics in there that you could dive
Bedrock.
into.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's an incredible song.
Yeah.
But I felt like I started listening to the Carter 3 again around that time. And I realized that this song is actually a sketch.
Yes.
It's sketch comedy.
Yes.
So I really brought it because you are on a sketch comedy show and I've never publicly spoken about how Dr. Carter is camp. Yeah. And it's telling a full story.
It is telling an entire story.
There's characters, there's a nurse, there's voice, like it's just got a lot going on. So I felt like it'd be fun to talk about. And then when I was re-listening to the album today, I realized it is just like a love letter to the working class. Mrs. Officer.
He loves the police.
Let's talk about
which
Lady
Wayne
Cops.
did come and Wayne performed on the SNL 50th anniversary show. Also, would you like my water? I haven't drank it.
Yes, thank you. I like to stay hydrated.
Yes, he performed a live rendition of Mrs. Officer.
A fabulous song.
It was really cool.
So we've got Doctors with Dr. Carter.
That's right.
We've got Cops with Mrs. Officer.
Absolutely.
We've got Sex Workers with Lollipop.
Woo.
And I'll stand by that. A lot of references to hoes as well. So, I mean, that could fall into a lot of categories.
Depends on how you want your interpretation of hoe, but.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Pussy Monster. And I think that's sort of just a general
just
class.
Just the working woman working in terms
the
of
99%.
The work being just like fucking in general,
and that is work.
It can be.
So I think this album is really important. It was very pivotal to me being a teenager, having my driver's license. I didn't have to listen to what anyone else wanted to listen to. And so I love this album and I love this song. And I think it's just like, it isn't discussed enough. 6'7" to me is like one of the best rap songs in my opinion.
I love 6'7".
I almost brought 6'7", but I thought, cause I love the Inception references in the video. He's like falling back into a bathtub. But this just felt like it will be fun to discuss. Yeah,
I really love this song. For those of you who don't know, for our younger listeners who weren't probably around, or born. Literally, when I just got done doing this college, I was like, I asked the audience, I was like, hey, what year were you born? Literally, some kids were like 2005.
That's like, really hard.
It hurt my feelings.
It made me feel really personal.
I was like, that's fucked. That's a year that I really remember. I had like thoughts and opinions and like,
I was a freshman in high school.
A variety of different hats that I really like to wear on the weekends when I wasn't at school. Like that, you can't tell me that's when you were born. That's when you were an infant. Oh,
it doesn't sit right.
No, I think I had my learner's permit in 2005.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
But and you get to go there and make them laugh.
You know, and it was a good show. Shout out to the good kids in Northwestern. They're nice kids. For those of you who might have been born around that period of time, if anybody's listening to my podcast from that age range, when this album came out, the Carter 3, it was the absolute biggest thing in the world. And for me, like for where I grew up, like Wayne it was like every car that you got into, someone was listening to a different Lil Wayne song. And this was also during a time period where like the streaming services didn't exist. And so like, I mean, iTunes existed, but like nobody was actually buying their music. Everybody was stealing their music and finding it on like different, like torrent sites and whatever.
And burning it onto CDs. Cases.
And so this was a really cool time for Wayne because he was putting out so much music that nobody ever had the exact same stuff. And that's a feeling that like genuinely like, and this is me getting old, and this is me becoming, I'm a literal uncle, and I feel like I'm starting to talk like one because I'm starting to be nostalgic about, well, back in the day, see, you didn't, now everybody got the same music. So when you go to the coffee shop, you all listening to the same stuff. But when I was a kid, we'd get in the car and Lil Wayne, you'd be in there with Lil Wayne, you'd be like, oh, what's this Lil Wayne song? I ain't heard this one before. And they all had different titles too. So like the same song could have like 5 different titles.
And different features too sometimes.
Different features, different drops. The guy who used to be like, The Empire.
The Empire was huge. Oh my God.
Damn son, where'd you find this?
I know. And there would be songs that you legitimately could not find the proper way.
No,
like
if
you wanted to add it to your iTunes, you had to take a burned CD and then you would name it whatever you wanted.
Yes.
And then you made the album whatever. It was just like there was such a personalization to the music that you were listening to. So yeah, I had songs that I didn't know the names of until I could look it up on Spotify. And there are some songs that are not on Spotify to this day.
For Wayne, I bet you there's hundreds, if not thousands of songs that never made it onto streaming services.
Yeah.
His mixtape, No Ceilings, that came out a year after this was like right when I was starting college.
Me too.
And it's really nice to talk to somebody who's the exact same age as you.
And we can reminisce on the good times of 2008, 2009.
One time I heard you reference, what was that Boston rapper? Sammy
Adams.
I heard you reference
that. Was a moment in time.
It's such a specific time where you had to be a specific age during like a 2 or 3 year span. And if you were, that means something to you. And if you weren't,
you're like, who?
Why is that important?
Yeah, but I will say I posted about Sammy Adams, and I really knew that my audience was the right people with the flood. I've never had like a more interacted with story. And people were like, oh my God, I was in love with him. And he followed me back. He messaged me. He came to one of my stand-up shows with his fiance.
Incredible.
And I was just like, oh, this is just like a good person. And someone DM'd me being like, he came to a frat party once after his performance and he didn't try to hook up with anyone.
That's beautiful.
Which I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Like, I guess some people are just like, meet your heroes if it's Sammy Adams. And I do want to say, I know Lil Wayne endorsed Donald Trump this past election cycle.
I forgot about that.
I have to think that was a purchased endorsement. And so I'm not saying I agree with the political views of any of the artists that we're talking about today.
Oh, wow. Yeah, let's just get that.
Let's just say that right now.
Let's just say that off top. Dr. Carter is a song from 2008 where Lil Wayne is a doctor. He's fully in character.
The titular Dr. Carter.
He is Dr. Carter. He is an actual doctor. And every verse is him trying to repair like an artist. There's an artist, like at the very beginning of the song, there's a woman who's saying your first patient is suffering from a lack of concepts, originality. Also, while she's saying what's wrong with him, Wayne just keeps going, ugh.
Yeah. And there's like a beep.
Yes, you can hear
beep. Yes. There's like the heart monitor
you
thing
can hear
in the
little
background.
Heart monitor.
I like to describe it as it's people who are having trouble with their flow.
Yes.
I think that's the consistent
That's
symptom.
one of the things, yes. He's suffering from lack of concepts, originality. His flow is weak. He has no style. What do you got for him? And then every verse is him trying to resuscitate this rapper who's struggling. And I will say a thing that's really funny, in 2 of the 3 verses, the guy dies.
They die. He has some casualties.
The guy dies. The dude straight up doesn't make it. He's rapping and the raps are all really cool. But then literally like in the first verse, he goes, you gotta have faith. You gotta, wait. I think I lost him. And then, and then it
goes,
just
Flatline.
A thing that I will say about Wayne in this, he does not seem fazed by the fact that he is losing these.
No.
He is never, in movies, they'll like lose a patient and they'll like go in the shower and like put their head down.
Take a minute. He's like, just bring in the next one.
He's just like, okay, I don't have time to, that guy's dead. Let's do some more flows.
I have to think this is just a regular day in the ER for him.
Maybe that's what it is.
He's just seen it all before.
He's seen a lot of people come and go, so it's like he can't be fazed by that. He can't stop. He's got other people to operate on.
Exactly.
I have some lyrics that I pulled from this, but is there anything that really stood out to you?
So I love when he goes, you can live through anything if magic made it. That's called recycling something, and that's a reference to a Kanye West lyric, I believe.
Yes, you can live through anything if magic made it. What Kanye song is that? Oh, it's You Can't Tell Me Nothing.
Exactly.
Yes.
But maybe did that come out before this song?
That was probably 1 year before. Graduation came out in 2007.
Yeah.
So it was right before.
So one thing I really like about Lil Wayne, his raps and rhymes are so poetic to me. Yeah. It's like, and you have to be so intelligent to be able to make all these references and like make it make sense. And I just feel like he's so smart, and that's what I just love about, some of the lyrics are insane.
Of course.
There's a lot of stuff about like tight like pussy or whatever. Like, sure, that's whatever.
He has a bar specifically where he says, I stay tight like pussy at night.
Yeah. Exactly. On this album.
And that's on this song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's on this song. He says, I stay tight like pussy at night. And I remember being fully a virgin when this came out. And I was like, so at night.
So is that a good thing?
So at night it kind of, is it?
It's tighter.
It's tightening.
Yeah.
It's tightening up.
It's tighter. And we're learning, I've said this before, but sex education in this country is so bad. We learn from the Super Bowl. We learn from Victoria's Secret catalogs. And unfortunately, we learn from, I'm just saying, like, we should have more education, but these questions will come up.
Talk to your kid, parents.
And your doctor even,
and
maybe.
Your doctor.
Perhaps.
I don't know if you want to talk to your doctor.
Like this one, swagger tighter than a yeast infection, fly go hard like a geese erection. So yeah, is that his best? No. But when he says he's something like silent, you move like in the G like lasagna or whatever, that's
from 6'7".
Really good.
Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Like lasagna. Also, get on my level. You can't get on my level. You're going to need a space shuttle or a ladder that's forever. I don't know. I'm like, that just makes me feel like energized. Like I feel like I could lift a car when I listen to Lil Wayne. And that's what I love about him. And this song also I feel like is so like artistically just different from everything else on the album, because it is just like, it's slow and it's so simple. When the beat is very simple, but it's high concept, which I think is cool.
And it's also building in a way that's like really like, it starts out really slow as he's starting to resuscitate the artist, and like by the very end, it's like so jubilant and it's so big and like the strings are really going and it's like jazzy. And
we saved him.
And then the last line that he has of the song, the person that he resuscitates, he says, "Welcome back, hip hop. I saved your life."
Exactly. That just gives me chills.
That was also this was also really in a moment, and like the people who were around for this will remember, like this is when a lot of people were saying that like rap was dead. That's crazy to me. That was very much, and it was like a year after this. Do you remember when Jay-Z made Death of Autotune? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure this is what everybody thought was going to happen when me and Mary Beth sat down on the pod.
Talking about DOA.
Do you remember?
Of course.
We're going to talk about hip hop discourse from 2008. But yes, that was very much like this conversation that was happening during this time. Nas, I think, had an album that came out that was called The Death of Hip Hop or something like that. Nas is always doing something like this.
His music, has a lot of
hip hop is dead.
Meaning.
Yes.
His music has a lot of meaning.
Nas?
Yeah, I would say.
I would agree with that.
Doesn't he have a song about like AIDS?
Probably.
Yeah, that was the first Nas song I ever heard. So I was like, whoa, this guy's got some pretty deep concepts.
I gotta look up the Nas.
Isn't it? I Know I Can.
That has an AIDS reference in it.
Okay, that stuck out to me. Again, sex education in this country, we are relying on rappers, and we need more.
We got to do better.
I think we just need a few more people to go to with these questions.
I learned a lot about pussy, unfortunately, from Lil Wayne lyrics and bars. What does he say? He has a line where he's like, "I'm always good like grandma's cookies. Your shit's always bad like grandma's pussy," or something like that. And that's something that I really...
But as a comedian, don't you kind of get that? Like, he has to use his family in his material. Getting a face... Who is it? You have to answer. Is it Pete Davidson?
Yeah, me and him talk all the time. It's my buddy Jose. Should I answer?
Sure.
No, I'm not going to answer.
Okay,
I already
fine.
was late.
He might have thoughts.
No, it's fine.
I feel like this was the same time Drake was sort of on the scene as well.
This was burgeoning Drake.
Yeah,
this
was
is when
like,
he's first starting to like kind of come on the scene.
What's You the Best?
Yes. Best I Ever Had.
Best I Ever Had. That was it. Best I Ever Had.
What's your relationship with Drake?
I was a huge fan. I was a huge fan. I don't know what he does in his personal life. Obviously, with the Kendrick stuff, I'm like, that would devastate me just as a person.
It was tough. That was tough to see.
But I was, in college, especially the first album, I was like obsessed with. And I just think it's funny that, and maybe like this is the right venue to talk about this because we're talking about rappers, but
can't wait.
I think it's funny that because rap beef when we were kids was like the person gets shot.
Yeah.
So then for people to be like, I can't believe you called him a pedophile at the Super Bowl. I'm like, at least he walked away with his life.
People used to do way meaner stuff.
That's what I thought. So I was just like, I think it's just funny. Like, I don't know. It was just funny to me. It's obviously really fucked up to do that. To call someone a pedophile at the Super Bowl.
You shouldn't do that.
But
if anybody's thinking about doing it, you shouldn't.
Don't do that.
It's not a kind thing
on
to do
music's
to somebody.
biggest night. But
I was there. I went to the Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
And
you saw it live.
I saw it happen live, and the entire stadium said A minor together. Yeah. And I was like, I've talked about this on other episodes, but I was like, I think it's time to leave Drake alone.
You thought that was probably the end. That was the period at the end of the sentence. I
was just like, hey, he's had enough. One time I like ended up in like a fist fight that I didn't know was about to happen. And
with who and when?
Truly, I was in college. And this is, a really funny thing about the story is like at the beginning of the night, for some reason, I was drunk and I was like, bro, let's get in a fight tonight. Like, let's wait till somebody is like looking at us crazy and let's swing on them. Like I was like 21 years old.
Totally.
And I had that type of energy.
I'll tell a story after this that I've been wanting to go on the record saying, but
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'll tell you after.
And long story short, what ended up happening was that my homie, I had like a rowdy homie named Ricky, and he was always kind of.
Of course, the rowdy homie is Ricky. Yeah, I mean, Ricky, who else could it be?
It really was. He was always involved in some stuff. Now he's like truly like a father of two, like the sweet family man. But like at the time, like really was like a rowdy boy. And I was walking a block ahead. I hear Ricky like getting into it with somebody. He's like face to face with somebody, like they're yelling, they're going back and forth. I try to walk back to the situation to see what's going on. As soon as I get there, just some dudes, basically the fight started with me arriving. I didn't know that we were even in a fight.
Yeah.
And I really got my ass kicked by two guys before I ever even
knew what was happening.
Had begun the fight. My friend John was across the street, and instead of getting involved and like helping me out, he literally from across the street, he goes, "He's had enough." That's what John did. He said, "He's had enough."
He's a pacifist, unfortunately.
Yeah,
he just wanted to call for the end of the fight.
And that's how I felt when I was watching everybody say A minor. I said, Drake's had enough.
I think it's really brave to say that on your podcast.
Why?
I don't know. It's just like getting involved in the issues. Like when the slap happened, everybody wanted to know whose side I was on. And I was just like, I think it's funny that happened. I'm sorry.
It was an incredible moment.
And to speak to the slap itself, which is what I wanted to bring up. Yeah. One time I slapped someone in college. It happened, and it was in the basement of like a frat adjacent party. We didn't have frats at BC, but I did slap someone.
In what context?
He just said something that I thought was like rude.
Boy slap.
Yeah, I slapped a man. And I don't think violence is ever the answer, except if it's against Nazis, I guess, which this person wasn't at the time, and I don't think still is. But
yeah, you saying at the time doesn't imply that
I don't think he is. I think I still follow him on social media, but I do feel like it's like I did that.
Whoever you are, whoever Mary Beth slapped, respond in the comments. Let's talk about this.
Please let us know where you fall politically.
Where are you at?
I did do that, and I feel like you shouldn't slap people. But like I've never been in a physical fight, but I did slap someone. And it's just I feel like I need to just put that out there.
Just everybody, just so you know, Mary Beth has been in a physical fight Well, she hasn't been in a physical fight. But
I
she
started
has been,
and ended a fight.
She has been violent towards someone before.
Yeah.
Do you now it feels a little too late to get into a fight, probably.
I don't think it's in the cards for me.
Yeah.
But I hope it's not, because I would not fare well in a fight. I have very weak bones. I would break something almost. I almost would be like, just take whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't see a fight for you. That's not really. It's
just, I don't have it in me. I'm a fighter, but not like that.
You're sort of, it's happening with your words.
Exactly.
You're somebody that I don't feel like I really want to cross, because I do feel like I feel like you could really cut me down with your words in a way that I don't think I want to deal with.
I hope that we never get into that situation. I have 5 older siblings, so I fight like a youngest sibling. And I think that that's like the most vicious form of verbal altercation.
Because you're kind of always the underdog in the situation. And
you always have to just be ready to like cut with your words.
Have we ever had any beef at all? I don't think we have. Have we ever had anything? I remember one time I made fun of your shoes in a big way, and I think you were upset.
But that was okay.
I think you were upset with me about that.
I wasn't upset. I was just like, I mean, yes, it was valid. They were the heeled Tims, and I wore them with cargo pants, and
Mary Beth
it is what it is.
She was wearing heeled Timberland boots.
But like, those are my snow boots. Do you get that I didn't want to buy ugly snow boots, so I bought those?
Do you still have those?
I gave them to Marie. Because I knew she wanted them, and I'd worn them one winter.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? I just didn't wear them anymore.
That's fair.
I just don't go out when it snows now.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
And honestly, I got made fun of for wearing them in the snow. So I think that was part of it too.
Was it just me, or was that coming from other places as well?
People were just like, these aren't practical. And I was like, okay, fine.
I like that you had those heeled Timberlands. I thought it was a really cool, it felt like something that like one of Jennifer Lopez's dancers would have.
Totally, yeah. I think you know what? We've had a style evolution. Like,
there's been
you seeing me at the beginning of stand-up, and I'm sure your style has evolved too.
Of course.
Like, I went from like wearing like heels and wearing tight dresses to then wearing like more comfy clothes. And then streetwear and kith was so big at that time. So I was, buying like cargo pants at the Army Navy store and wearing crop tops and, all that stuff. And now I would say I've moved into more like comfy basics. Like I would perform in this outfit probably, and glam when absolutely necessary. Sure. But yeah, you've seen me through a lot, and throughout it all, I've been a Lil Wayne fan, and I feel like a lot of people don't know that about me. So.
And we really got into that today. And
I just think, again, I don't know what the politics are with Lil Wayne, but I think his songs are just like, they just get me fired up. And if you need a boost of energy, if you listen to 6'7" and that does not like rev your engine, then I think you should seek medical help.
6'7". I would also say Amelie is one of those songs as well.
Totally.
Where it's like, I mean, I feel like I could do a whole Amelie episode.
Maybe you will.
Maybe one day I will.
Have me back. We'll talk about Amelie.
Maybe I'll just do like a full Wayne episode where I'll just kind of go through all my favorite Lil Wayne bars. Because from this song in particular, the big ones that really make you think are definitely swagger tighter than a yeast infection. I fly, I go hard like geese erection. Can you rap that to the camera real quick, Mary Beth?
I can't. Okay. I actually can't. I'm sorry. I have to have a boundary with that.
Okay, that's fair.
I would love to play the nurse in this if there were to be a reboot situation.
Sure.
I think here's what I thought when I was listening. If
reboot for a song would be
for
cool.
a song, you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
IP is everything. Like original IP that you can reboot.
That's true. Maybe when they start turning songs into movies.
They tried it with the Chainsmokers Paris. I don't know if you remember, that was in development for several years.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. There's articles about it. You can look it up.
I will.
This feels like if Lil Wayne hosted SNL, this could be a sketch on SNL.
I would love that. I don't
know if it's I don't know if it could happen one day.
It doesn't feel like where we're at in his current career right now that he would be hosting SNL, but maybe something could change.
Or a musical guest.
I would love that. It was really cool to get to see him. He did Mrs. Officer and
that is insane.
I would have gone on
crazy.
The show, and I was literally like out on the floor by myself rapping every single word. It was a nice time. The Roots were like the backing band.
Mrs. Officer. I bet you wish your name was Mrs. Carter.
Yeah, Mrs. Carter, huh? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He drops the doctor for Mrs. Officer. I don't think he's a doctor yet.
He doesn't continue to be a doctor.
He's still in his residency.
He's awesome.
So he doesn't have the title. But yeah, it's just good to have a forum where we can talk about these things. And I feel like when I came to SNL to see Coldplay, I got a lot of flack. But just to say, like, people can have diverse musical tastes.
That's true. And you're one of the, in case in point,
I try.
Mary Beth Barone. I forgot that you came to the show for Coldplay.
And Bowen was nice enough to bring me over to meet Chris Martin after, who was a total doll. And I just think, yeah, I just love my guys. I love girl singers, and I wrote for them last season on my podcast, but there's a lot of guys that I think are really talented too. So not comedians. You're a good one. You're one of the good ones, but most male comedians, no.
Fair. And I would say as one, I think that's a sentiment that I really stand by. I don't stand by many comedians, just period. I got like 8 comedian friends. Outside of that, I'm like,
keep your circle small.
I don't know if you have this, but every single time I make a new friend that's not a comedian, I really rejoice like in my heart.
It's so important to have those people in your life.
When you like really hit it off with somebody and you're like, oh, what do you do? And they're like, oh, I'm a graphic designer.
I'm an analyst.
I'm a dentist. You're like, tell me about that.
Exactly.
So what's going on with that?
And when you mention a celebrity and they don't know who they are, and you're like, oh, this is what real people do and talk about.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I've been doing everything that I can to not really know what's going on with the whole Blake Lively situation. And it's like, anytime anybody starts to tell me about it, I really am like, please don't give me that. Don't give me that information. And I love talking to people who also don't know anything about it.
It can be really rewarding to go a day without talking about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. And unfortunately, we are not having that day today because we are talking about it. But it can be so powerful, because I actually thought I was pretty up to date on all of it. And then someone revealed a detail to me that I hadn't heard that was apparently very widely known. And I was like, okay, wow, even I have blind spots. And I think it's important to acknowledge that. But yeah, Lil Wayne, if you're out there listening, I hope you're well. New music whenever, we'd be happy to get it.
I think he's always putting out new music.
But where?
I've got some recent.
Is it on Spotify?
Some of it. I'm gonna send you some stuff. I'm gonna send you some recent Wayne stuff. Wayne's actually he's obviously not at the peak of his fame right now, but I do think he's still once a year he'll put out a verse that I think is one of the best verses that I've heard in a year.
Well, thank God for features.
He kind of destroys every feature he pops up on.
Yeah.
Mary Beth, before we get you out of here, is there anything that you'd like to give to the people? Any shows, anything that you'd like to tell the people about? You can follow me on social media if you even care, at Mary Beth Barone. And then you can watch Overcompensating on Prime Video. All episodes drop at once May 15th, and watch it again and again. Watch it on many devices, different accounts, sort of whatever you want to do to support the show. But I think it's going to be great. And I will say there are going to be a lot of music references in Overcompensating, a lot of songs that will specifically speak to people who went to college when we were in college. So I won't spoil any, but it's very you're gonna be transported, I think, and I'm excited. Very excited. It's it feels really crazy that we're getting to the age where now they're looking back on the time that we were in high school and college and being nostalgic about it.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? In the way that we used to watch That 70s show and be like, oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane what they were wearing.
Exactly.
I mean, I would before we go to hear the end of the Kendrick story at SNL, to sort of circle back.
We really went a smooth 40 minutes.
I am dying to know.
I got distracted.
And Benny gets distracted too on our podcast, so I'm always mentally clocking things that we didn't actually finish talking about. Back around so I would love to hear what happened.
Kendrick Lamar was the musical guest my very first season, my very first episode of SNL. I had just seen him at the Barclays Center 1 month before, and it was a cool show. He did this thing where he it seems like he disappears into thin air. It was really tight. And during the good nights, everybody's walking around, you're shaking hands. Or walking off stage in front of the camera, depending on who it is. Because sometimes you got to get to God's country. That's a whole other, but that's a whole story in that it's actually not a story. But it was very funny to see how that got blown up. Truly, nobody cared. But anyway, we're doing the good nights, walking around, we're hugging. I go to Kendrick and I'm like, hey man, I saw you when you were in Brooklyn. It was a really good show. And he just looks back at me and he goes, I know. Okay, so he had to be in his Jesus era at that time. I was like, this is the coolest dude I ever seen him. Because you tell people they have a good show. Normally you're like, oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you thought that. He was so he was like, yeah, no, I put together a fantastic show and I know that. And it went exactly how I wanted it to. Yeah, and it was perfect. And you were lucky to be there. And I was like, yeah, man, you're the one. I was like, He wasn't gonna lose a rap beef after I got that response. After he said I know.
I like when people are like their personalities are consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like, yes, of course he knows it was probably a flawless show. Mm-hmm. And for you to just acknowledge the work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and
it was.
And I didn't have I couldn't say anything after that. I had to just say, all right, bye, Kendrick.
And Kendrick, to that, I say, keep up the good work.
Keep up the good work, man.
We're watching.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome to see what you're up to, man. I didn't know you had this much malice. I didn't know he had that in his heart. I really learned something about him.
Well, for someone that has a song called Love, you don't think he's going to call someone a pedophile at the Super Bowl.
No, you wouldn't think that, but no, he said it a lot. He said it a lot over like a dance beat.
Well, because this has a bonus track. It's just calling someone a pedophile at the Super Bowl. But it's not there. You have to listen.
You got to listen. You got to play the record backwards to get that one.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for having me.
Mary Beth, thank you so much for being here.
Such a pleasure.
Sorry again for the whole airport situation.
It's okay. Just know that like when people become famous, like they change and that's okay. And I could never fault you for airport trouble. And thank you for the hat.
Of course.
It means a lot.
Of course. I'm excited to see the way you style it.
What you'll see.
I wish you still had the Tim boots.
I know.
Because I feel like those things could have gone together really well. Anyway, thank you again, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
My Favorite Lyrics is a production by Disco Nap. If you guys like what you hear, leave a review and tell a homie about the show. And make sure to follow us at My Favorite Lyrics Pod on all social platforms, except for Twitter. We offer that. You can learn more about this week's guest and the My Favorite Lyrics team by checking out the show's notes. And thank you to the guys that made this show happen. Our executive producer, Lauren Mandel, our associate producer, Carmen Carigan, Chris Mueller, who engineered and edited the episode. Shout out to y'all. We'll catch y'all next week.